Welcome to the Tenax series week number 5 presented by Harmony Esports. My name is Zero Fight, and today with me I have my lovely co-caster Soren, and we got some banger games for you tonight. Well, it's just one banger game, but it is a very important one at that. We're going to be watching Prominence go up against In Control Bloom. Should be an exciting matchup to close off the regular season of the 10X Series 3.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, there's some very high implications for this game, but we'll go over that in a little bit. Before we get to there, we have to take a look at these rosters. There have been a couple of moves since I think we last saw these
Yeah.
teams. Notably, I believe Salt and Cokes are coming in for prominence. So you can expect them. So, couple different names on the maps. But overall, a lot of our big name players, the ones that we're really going to be looking out for, are still going to be on the maps, and I think we see the players to watch out for up here next. But
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure. And like you mentioned, Salt and Cokes coming into this roster for Prominence, I believe, over back on the 9th of February, so right before that roster lock date. So coming in, and then there actually will be an emergency sub, so Cavewoman won't be able to make it. Was having some, I believe, internet issues, so
yeah,
will be getting an emergency sub currently. Unknown who that's going to be, so it'll be a little bit of a surprise for us both here on the broadcast. But some great players coming into this roster. I mean, if you're not aware, this was the Harmony Opal team that's decided to change names, change management a little bit, I believe. So definitely a team that is known within the community. And then on the other side, like you said, this is going to be In Control Bloom, a team that has had success so far. Currently sat 3-2, going to be looking to make that a 4-2 scoreline to close this out and secure them playoffs with a lot of players here that are very significant. I mean, you have Rose there that we saw playing the duelist for this squad. Definitely a notable player. I don't know if we'll be seeing the Neon today specifically, as I feel like that's kind of been phased out of the meta at this point, but still an exciting matchup for these duelists. I believe it's going to be Salt who's should play on that role. I could be mistaken, but
yeah, absolutely. And kind of continuing on in the role, we do have our maps. Very luckily, it's very nice and easy for us here on the desk. Prominence is going to be starting on defense for all three if we go to full three, but we are going to be starting out on Lotus, and then we're keeping with themes of the three site maps by going to Haven second. And if we go all the way, go to map 3, we'll be making our way to Split. Haven and Lotus, different but also very similar in terms of
yeah.
how the attack plays. Those three sites definitely make you play a very specific way, a lot more defaulting, a lot more picking and choosing, trying to see where the defense is actually setting up. Meanwhile, Split, a map that we're all very familiar with, one of the oldest maps in the pool and in the game itself, I believe rather attack heavy currently in its state. So we're going to be seeing possibly 3 very attack heavy compositions for agents. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And
map wise, very, very interesting. Very, very interesting pool here.
yeah, I mean, I think this series should be just an absolute giga banger. I think with Lotus currently Prominence sat 1-1. Their last performance on Lotus was 6-13 against Wide Easy Black, so not able to convert it there, but still confident in their map pick. I think Wide Easy is one of the top teams here, so not really getting shook there. As and then on the other side for Ink Bloom, they are only 0-1 on this map, but since I believe it was week 2 when they played Nightshade on Lotus, they have changed their composition, swapped up some of those approaches, and then going over to Haven as well. So that's a map they're sat 2-1 at, and meanwhile it's not really a map that we've seen Prominence play a whole lot, only playing it way back in week number 1 against Nightshade as well. And that was a 6-13 loss as well for that squad. So we'll be really interested because, I mean, we kind of set up the stakes here a little bit, but For both of these teams, neither one is secured their spot in playoffs, both looking to clinch it out today. And for Ink Bloom, the only thing they need to do is just win the series. If they win the series, they've clinched playoffs, they've made it to that next stage for the next week. But for the side of Prominence, they need to do this in a much more convincing fashion. They have to 2-0 this series, and I believe I could be wrong, but I believe it's a 14 or plus 14 round differential over those two maps. So either has to win like 13-6, 13-6, or just needs to get a pretty substantial lead, if I gotta say so. And if they're not able to do that, but they still squeak out the series win, it will be Chronic actually over in Group B, who will be making playoffs and getting to make that next step forward.
Yeah, and really, you spoke it the truth there. Prominence really do have a bit of a mountain to climb. Like you said, 13-6 both ways. I mean, I feel like it's a pretty much rule of thumb that it's a pretty not one-sided, but it's a pretty convincing win when it's like a 13-8, 13-9. But trying to win out just one game 13-6 takes
Yeah.
a little level of domination that you typically don't see in a competitive game, especially competitive team play environment. So having to do that back to back is definitely going to be a tricky endeavor. But to be fair, if they're able to put this together, are able to pull out a big win on Lotus, I already mentioned before, but well, different maps, Lotus and Haven are relatively similar, have similar play styles in certain ways. So if there was a setup to have a very convincing two map win in a very similar fashion, this map pool is kind of what they would want. This is kind of what they need.
Yeah.
Because obviously, if you get thrown like a fracture and an ascent, they are played so drastically different. If you don't take the advantage in one, the hopes are kind of out the window, unless you could pull a miracle and do something like a 13-2 or something. But that's
Yeah.
crazy. I know we had
That would
it.
that
I
would
know we
be
had it,
that
I
would
think,
be
yesterday. We had one yesterday, so it's possible. Don't get me wrong. But
anything's possible here.
it's just definitely not likely. But I
Yeah.
believe we are just kind of waiting up on one player here. I believe the sub is just taking a little bit to get into the lobby. Again, technical issues for the side of Prominence, so we're trying to deal with them. But before we get there, since we do know we're going to Lotus, Zero, um, quick predictions. What are you thinking we're going to be seeing agent wise, since that's next up on the chopping blocks? Anyone that you're expecting to see? Anyone you're hoping to see come out?
Well, both of these squads, this prominent squad like to lean into that breach Tejo with that raise, the Vice. They've shown it before when they've played Lotus against YDZ and Encrypted in weeks 3 and 4. And then for the side of Ink Bloom, it really could be anywhere. I think they were playing the Fade Breach, and then I didn't really love that look out of them. We saw it kind of in the Prestige show match. If you were able to catch that, where they kind of fell a little flat against that, and since then they did decide to go over towards that Tejo with the breach. But interesting enough, they still have Lil Hoppa on this Killjoy role instead of swapping over to something like a Vice. As we've seen the meta evolve, we haven't really seen a lot of KJ, as it can kind of get exposed by those Tejos who really have experience with those salvos and know what they're doing. So I'll be interested to see if she decides to stick towards that, or if In Control have kind of opted to go a different direction.
Yeah, absolutely. The Tejo is just very, very strong. The damage they can do, especially when clearing out a lot of the close angles and the tight spaces on Lotus. I think like Tree over on A. We saw them last night, or saw a Tejo last night, completely just ult the tree, which cleared out I think two or three people inside of it because they didn't want to you know take that space and risk that gunfight as they try to take A. So you can get so much value out of the kit there. I'm interested to see the Sentinels as well. Yesterday, I know we saw, I believe, a Vice and I think a Deadlock. A Deadlock, I don't think was used as effectively as the Vice, but the Vice really got a lot of mileage. The sheer wall, being able, I remember, I think on round 2 when they tried to play really aggressive and tried to like pack mentality to get a flank onto the attacking side. Excuse me. Were kind of cut off because they all tried to run through into a lobby, and that sheer wall prevented it, and it gave them enough time to turn around and pick them off, and really just protected them. So I think you can get a lot of value, but our predictions are just that. We just have to wait and see, as we are going to be making our way to the agent select. I believe everyone's in. Player named Rain is going to be the one filling in as that last minute sub for Prominence.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, it's actually Cokes who will be going over towards that race pick. I believe with Cave Woman probably subbing in, deciding to switch it up just a little bit. So interested to see how they perform. I know they've been in and out of the GC scene, kind of dipping their toes back in, playing where they can, just staying warm. So and I mean, we've seen plenty of success from them in the past. So will definitely be a player to keep our eye on. And yeah, it's just the standard Breach Teho Omen with that raise and the Vice. Kind of, I mean, in my opinion, what the meta is to come, what we're going to be used to seeing. And then on the other side, yeah, it's the same thing that we mentioned before. Lil Hoppa hovering that KJ. So what I'm going to be looking towards is Fruit Cup actually to really pressure Hoppa and make sure that she doesn't really have that fun of a time on that defense side once we swap over. But also those Killjoy lockdowns. I mean, if you're Hoppa here, you have to be so just diligent with the way you're using it. You either have to be precise on making sure that Fruit Cup already used the salvos so you can get the lockdown out within that short window of the cooldown, or Fruit Cup just needs to be just straight up dead. So
pretty much.
I think there will be a little bit of like a mini game for them there, but we'll have to see. I think the Killjoy still has enough value, but starting off on the attack side especially, you can find it useful, and it'll be in control, looking to get in control early and start themselves off with a pistol round. Believe, yeah, it's just gonna be, look at this. I mean, already we're seeing this setup from the defense of Prominence to fight early over towards C Mound. You have all of that utility with the Tejo salvos, the paranoia, the paint shells. You even have the smoke, so it can be really hard to contest. But on the other side of Ink, it's the same pistol round they've actually done most times. They try to go get this orb early, and then they just hold space over towards this A main area, make sure, see if there's any aggression, and then they play slow, they rotate back, play their time. They like to have these more defaulty rounds, bait out any utility, any aggressive plays, as you already see the rotates being pulled over this stealth drone from Fruit Cup. Will give some good information as well. Spot out both of the players sitting in the back line.
Yeah, it's going to give a lot of information, especially as they spot them in C on round Mound. And that is going to be 3 kills immediately going over to the attacking side. All of the defenders who try to intercept this push on get punished for it. The last 2 are going to be sitting in B. Some util is going to be used to try to get some more information. They're not going to spot them. But Spike hasn't even gone down yet. And it's going to be for practically free, as these 2 defenders need to do what they can.
Push a little farther, just take the CT space, but
1 enemy remaining.
There we go. Yep. Easy does it. Mossy with the 3K on the round. They take the duel. They take the kills as well. And yeah, that's rather convincing first round for them. I think they only lost 1 player. So a nice, healthy chunk of change is going to be going into their pocket, which you can see with a buyout of rifles for everyone, even though there's no Vandal.
Yeah, and the idea from Prominence to push out there, get that information with the stealth drone, and then open the door, crunch that mounted control. But Rain just goes down as that first player, and then ever since then you really can just turn your sights onto everyone opening door and rain down hellfire, as we saw that done. The salvo is coming to break a little utility and push, but with just classics, they really can't make a stand past that, as Hidden Control just playing slow, playing calculated, not wanting to overstep and get caught out. They have bought into this with, I mean, 2 Bulldogs, 3 Guardians. You really want to be saving as many of these rifles as possible, and it's just Rain with that Sheriff. But other than that, it's not a whole lot of investment.
Little bit of pot shots being taken. I don't think there's really any damage to be traded, though XOXO did take a little bit. There's a flank. I don't think they're going to spot anything, except maybe that's one trip from the Killjoy. They know it's going to be A, and the spike is going to start getting planted. They're going to get it down. Util's being used to try to prevent it. Not going to do anything. XOXO is going to find one with the classic. Do what they can. They are going to spot the player around the corner. They are going to get it. Sin tries to level it out, but they can't do it. Bulldogs in hand. They have the rifle advantage, but they level it to 2v2. And Sin, 3k on the round, playing on site. Needs to do what they can. Megalodon swings through, doesn't find anything. Only classic facing on the barrel of 2 rifles. Has to play this close. Has to play this carefully. Uses the last little bit of information, and ult and Sin on the round, 4 kills. They do secure it, but it was very costly. Definitely think that they were expecting to save 1 or 2 more rifles.
Yeah,
in that situation.
It was very costly. You're right. I mean, 3 players going down there, only 2 Guardians able to be brought over into round number 3 for the bonus of In Control. Is, I mean, if you're the squad, you're looking to just get as many of these rounds as possible and build up this early lead on the attack side. They'll still have some chance into this. I mean, 3 away from Mossy's Armageddon, as once again, it's Prominence fighting for A main control, fighting for Rubble, but In Control want nothing to do with this, just taking B main with that stealth drone as Megalodon jiggling the sheer wall, baited out, and this is what you're going to be seeing from In Control. They like to play these slower attack rounds. They go in default, they bait out that Vi's utility, and then they go and reclear Fruit Cup here.
There we go, and the firing squad is waiting for them. Salt and Fruit Cup. They do find 3. Fruit Cup does fall, but that's a lot of damage being done. Notably, all 3 of those attackers only had pistols. Last 2 do have Guardians, but they're going up against Phantoms and Vandals. Not a great situation. They are going to be spotted. Salt, again, does a little bit of damage, but nothing in terms of kills. And now the attack seems like it's going to be a fake TP to try to catch him off guard.
Yeah, just backing up, playing their live. As you have Salt here, as Lil Hoppa and Rose just going to be looking to isolate.
Left. 1 enemy remaining.
Spotted. They're going to find 1. They can't do it. Salt with the 4K on the round. The iron wall on A just does not let them get even close to sight. That is going to be the first round on the board for Prominence.
Yeah, they go and try to re-clear that space, but over towards A main, but they're not expecting them to be past that choke point, pushed up that far, which, to be honest, you really don't see a lot of teams playing like that. So it's going to be Prominence getting that first round on the board. Now the first full rifle v rifle round, Fruit Cup with the Bulldog, but once again, it's Prominence taking this Rubble control, as In Control just decide to kind of forfeit that, do the same early default to try to maybe bait out the sheer, but Megalodon is aware of it and gets the opener onto Yor. Just here's that drone. It's the same setup, the same utility coming out as the round prior, and just reads it like a book. That's your entry player down.
Yeah, that's a big hit for them there, as they do try to use some util to get some information. They are going to spot the Vice over on C. Usually indicated that they might be alone, so they're going to try to push through, find something. They are going to spot Rain there from Mound, but not do any damage in the process. They play this very carefully. Again, down their initiator, needs to play this safe, needs to play this carefully. The Omen does make their way on the site. XOXO is rather damaged, doesn't expect the backstab from Rose, is going to fall in the process. This Omen sitting on site. Rain's going to try to hold it down, does find Sin. having to dodge and duck around the util from Tejo, but does their best to stay away. Mossy, though, does finally find them. Vice is down. That opens up sight a little bit. No information besides the fact there's a couple towards Waterfall.
Just running away now. Fruit Cup with this Armageddon as well. The time is so low, but I don't think it hit. The Armageddon just not placed in the great spot. The plant's going to go down, and with that pick on to Fruit Cup from Mossy, they get the Armageddon of their own. A 2v2 now in the post plant.
Playing off site. They know what they want. They have the util to play around it. Armageddon is in the back pocket as well. It looks like that's what they're going to play toward. They are going to smoke it, not able to get anything, especially as both are damaged. Mossy's going to find one as they try to retreat. Salt's going to tap it, try to go for it. He's going to find it. They line up for him. Secures the kill, secures the defuse. That's a massive win for Prominence. That is exactly what they needed.
Salt doing wonders there. I mean, in the round prior, round number 3 gets the 4K over towards A main. This time being the rock for their team, getting that 2K, closing it out, and tying up the score 2-2. And with that round win, it breaks the economy of In Control as well. Just sheriffs across the board, half armor as well. So it's going to be Rain with this operator. So not the outlaw, maybe not wanting to potentially get caught off guard by any full investments. But here it's a little bit of a switch up on the defense, actually. They decide to not opt to invest util heavily, just go for the fault line, the teleport up as well, and then you can save the util and see if there's going to be a reclear. And a reclear there will be. How ready is Salt? They've been good, but they're on their lonesome now. I'm just going to make their escape, not wanting anything to do with those salvos.
Yeah, lots of util being invested to push them off site. And like you said, there's still a lot of util in the back pockets of this defense. They did not do a lot in preparation. That means they're going to have a lot for this retake because they know they have the advantage. That being said, Mossy finds one, Little Hoppa finds the other. That's massive. They have the gun advantage, but now they are down 2. They need to do everything. Make it 3. Little Hoppa finds a second on the round. Make it 4. Nothing. Sad Cokes finally finds one with the paint shells. But that being said, Rain is sitting there, operator in hand. They just can't do anything as your spots on the barrel just peeking out past the boxes. They're going to punish him for it. That is the operator also picked up. That was an almost impossible situation. Full rifles and an op going against some sheriffs, and the sheriffs somehow come up on top.
The game changers, sheriffs, coming into effect once more, but you're right. I mean, that's a huge thrifty round to lose if you're the side of Prominence. We're talking about the round differential that you need to build up, and you cannot be losing rounds like that if you're trying to clinch your way into playoffs. But Salt with this Marshall looking to just fire shots into the fray as In Control get pushed back from Mounds. They noted out 3 or 4 of these players here. They should be on their way to rotate over towards A, but they're slow. They don't want to get caught out from any judges, any aggressed players, but it's just going to be Prominence picking up this gun, and the site will be gained for In Control.
Yeah, and that turret dropping is actually going to give them a lot of information. Let them know that site is theirs. The Hoppa sitting there, does have rifle in hand, finds the first one as they try to peek out, avoids the flash from the Omen, is one-person army standing in their way, but does finally fall. Fruit Cup, the one to do it, as they try to push through. They do have the salvo, so that's going to clear out some corners for them, but doesn't seem to quite hit anyone in particular. Rain sitting up top, proving to be a nuisance, but 1-for-1 they trade. Salt finds one, and now Sid versus Salt. They're about to run into each other. Can they pull it off? Sin is going to be the one to do it. The attackers put 2 back-to-back here and puts a 2-round gap between them and their opponents.
Yeah, and a good attempt on that retake from Prominence. I mean, it's just a classic, a Marshall, and then the one Bulldog that was able to be picked up. But they played off each other very well there, making sure they're swinging as a team, pulling the crosshair of, I believe, Rose there. So great job on that side. But now it will be finally a rifle round. But for the side of Prominence, they need to get this. They have the showstopper to invest, potentially rain one off of that Steel Garden as well. But on the other side, you have 4 ultimates to bat. And it's just the same pistol, or the same round to default over towards B. And Lil Hoppa holding for the aggression, but just can't click the heads fast enough. That's Coax with the opener. Now your Sentinel down, all this space gained, and with having no control over towards A Rubble, you're feeling forced to be pressured over towards C, and it's Rain. Just has to play retake, has to give up this site.
Yeah, backing away as the push from the attack comes through. The rotates are a bit slow from this defense. They are going to be able to get the spike down for free. Double paint shell kills, 3 in the run for Coax. Yor finds 1 in response with the ultimate. Not quite enough to bring it level. Yor with another. Salt finds the trade. Now 1 person left standing. Sin needs to do it all yet again. They find the first one, but Coax getting 4 on the round to close it out. These rounds are close, and we see it there as they bring another round back, 3-4 now, still in favor of Ink here.
Yeah, I mean, Coke's doing great to get that opener onto Lil Hoppa, and then Rain just deciding to play their life. I mean, if they didn't, they were just going to be stunned up by that Rolling Thunder, but an crucial rounds for this defense side. They need to be getting as many of these rounds as possible because, like you said, it's 3 attack-sided maps in a row, and starting on defense, I mean, you're not going to be able to create as much momentum as easily for yourself as if you were starting on the attack side. But just into this round, it's a slower pace round once again for In Control. The drone out to clear this A rubble space as not a jump spot coming through. The smoke stairs will deny some info, but they do have this shear and a paranoia to bat off of it. But the pressure from Tree, it's going to be Fruit Cup down.
Yeah, they are going to find the 2 pushing out, though. Salt, waiting patiently for it, is going to get hit by that concussion, but is going to get away scot-free. They are going to get the spike down. The last 2 sitting towards Tree, but they're going to have to reposition so they don't get trapped in here where Rose expected. The flash does not hit Salt, though, and Salt is going to find 3, make it 4 on the round. Salt tearing up the server right now, 14-4-0. The only player to have double digits, and they have 6 more than the next highest in kills. Salt is coming alive right now.
Definitely so. And I mean, 3 of these rounds for Prominence have been off the back of one of their players just picking up a 4K. The timeout will now be called for In Control as the score gets tied 4-4, and they're trying to find an adjustment. I mean, 2 rounds in a row now going the way of Prominence. If In Control can't convert this, they'll be forced down to one of their first ecos of this match so far, and the ult economy will be booming for that Prominent side. I mean, 4 ults currently online, 4 away from the showstopper, and meanwhile on the other side, they only have that Killjoy lockdown in the Omenal, and we were talking about that Killjoy ult, not the greatest when you're playing against the Teo.
Yeah, absolutely not. And you were mentioning it before, but on this defensive side, you want to get as many rounds as you can. This is a pretty heavy attacking map. So every single round that Ink give up here is kind of another round in which Prominence have a chance to really have a strong second half to close it out. They're going to have the advantage once they switch the side. So the fact that it's 4-4, well, in totality, when you think about the mountain that Prominence needs to climb, it's not amazing because, you know, that round count is certainly going to be a problem. But in terms of just actually winning the game, this is a pretty good game state for them as we get close to that halftime.
Yeah, and we're just going back to this early B main control, but to be honest, as Sad Cokes and the rest of this Prominent squad taking C Mound, they are going to have all of this info as they don't even have to play Fruit Cup on that jump spot as well, feeding the info. There's no way they expected. The turret is set up from Lil Hoppa to make note of this flank, but this team, they're separated, and Sin shut down.
Yeah, Sin tries to run through, doesn't get the wide peak, and does fall. Notably here, if you look at the mini map and see here as we switch over, the spike is all the way practically back in the defender's spawn. They are pushing all the way up through B right now.
They opened the door and didn't spot Lil Hoppa out there. Too worried. You saw the pings on the minimap come out. They're worried about this C main wrap around, as they very well should be, as players looking to get pinched. Rose.
Ships passing in the night, just barely missing each other. Rose finally does get spotted, and they are going to hear the plant come down. They're not going to be able to prevent it. They are going to do some damage. Coax is going to find one. Yor finds the trade. Don't know what to do yet. Last player standing. They try to take the duel, and they just can't. Very sneaky coming out from the attack side, but it's just not enough, as they do not win the fights off site. That is going to be round in the hands of Prominence. And like you said, that's real rough for Inc, as they also didn't utilize any of those ults. They now have 4 ults in their back pocket, with Coax sitting at 7 out of 8 points. They're about to go into these final, 3 rounds with a full roster of ults.
And I gotta mention, Soren, even outside of that timeout, we haven't seen this in control side really fight for A main. They have just given it up. There was the early conditioning from this Prominent side to take it, and then since then they have kind of just respected it. While it can be hard to get through that breach Tejo just onslaught of utility, you have that same utility to invest yourself, and now it's a crunch play over towards B main, the nade going in, and it's just chaos abounds.
Yeah, trades going out a piece, 2 attackers falling as the defenders, like you said, open that door, take advantage of a bit of patience, maybe over patience from them. Meanwhile, over on A, Rose does push through, finds Fruit Cup on their lonesome. In is going to get that kill. They're going to drop the spike, notably. Allows for the TP from the Omen to come through. They are going to get pincered here a little bit. Rain sitting in the smoke. Meanwhile, the last 2 come from the attacking side. Rose is going to run through.
Just the TP into the smoke? There's no way.
There we go. They are going to get spotted. Rain finds the kill. The ult from the Raze is going to be utilized. Sin and Mossy sitting in tree are going to do what they can, but they're just getting dumped by utility. And they're going to be held off long enough as they're able to defuse. Plus, they'll be run down, so they can't keep their guns either. As 6 rounds on the board for this defense. And again, attacking side of map, getting 6 defensive rounds. That is massive for Prominence. Yeah, this is a really, really good half for them.
We need to see a switch up from this in control squad. They haven't been fighting for this control. B main, getting that early on, it really doesn't do anything for you. I mean, you can have one player go there, contact up, maybe have a drone or something, but it doesn't allow for you to rotate. The B is the site you rotate to, not the one that you rotate from typically, as it's just going to be a 4-man group up. But the push, the crunch.
Yeah, they push through the doors. They do spot them over in C. Fruit Cup and Rain find one apiece. Rain finds a second. Sin tries to level it out. They can't do anything, though. Megalodon finds the 4th in the round. And now Rose pushed up all the way into A and gets punished for it. Assault. Again, the lone defender over there continues the reign of terror, finds that kill. 15 for them in the round. Coax with 12, as they have just separated themselves from in control. And I agree with you. We have to see something different here. We have not seen a very fast take, and I really believe we maybe need to see a switch up of tempo here.
Yeah, but we're not going to be seeing it. It's just, once again, a 1-2-2 default to start off the round. And once we switch over to the defense side, Soren, I'm a little worried about the setups, but Rose looking to go aggressive here, just solo, but finally able to pick up the kill. Full blind at that. That's the first advantage they've had in, what, 4 rounds at this point?
Yeah, and they're barely gonna get it. Like you said, blind out. That is gonna give away a lot of information that there's more A. That means the rotate towards C is happening, and it's happening quick. Rain is the last one standing. They're gonna use the race rocket. They're not gonna find anything as Rain shuts it down hard. That's gonna make them second guess themselves. They are gonna pull off. The Killjoy ultimate is gonna be utilized. Notably, not going to invest any
Just saving it.
util to destroy it.
Yeah, they're okay with playing retake. You don't really need to invest it as you can have that Armageddon, but the contact play up from Sin. It's made aware of, but
just not enough. They are going to utilize the Armageddon. Not going to find anything, but it is going to push them back for just a couple seconds longer. Rose is going to try to push up in the waterfall, try to maybe catch him off guards. Salvos come out. They do catch Fruit Cup. Makes it a 3v3. Dangerous position, but Fruit Cup and Rain. Fruit Cup from the grave finds one. Rain with 3 on the round. They're going to start the defuse. Little Hoppa. 1v1 catches them on the defuse. Secures it, makes it a much more favorable scenario. An 8-4 is far scarier than the 7-5 they end off with. It's not great for them, but it could be a lot worse. It could have been a lot worse.
And I think, I mean, they needed that round. I kind of alluded to it there at the start of round number 12, but the defensive setups from the side of In Control are, to be honest, a little the same. When you're looking at them on the other side of that attack, they're pretty flat. They only have these real 3 setups. They either will fight for mountain control, set up a trap play, they'll 3 push through B main, or they fight heavy for A. And so if you can get a read on that utility, you might be able to get an early lead as the fault line here to try to punish Rain, but will make out with their life, and the smoke comes out, and here it is, a trap play, but Mossy.
Yep. Trades come through. Mossy and Fruit Cup both find 1 apiece. Notably, though, look at the damage done to this attacking side. The defense, though, only low on Tejo. That's a really good position for this defense here. Rose is going to hold this site. Rain's gonna peek through, and it's 2 ships passing in the night yet again, as both so close and yet so unaware of each other's presence. Rose could be in a position to get them. They are, and the util usage is going to give away more. They have to clear Rose, but they don't know where they quite are. Fruit Cup with only 7 health. It's gonna run into Sin. They are gonna find the 1. Trades go out. Salt comes out on top with 2. And now somehow in the 2v2 situation, but the last 2 attackers are so weak. Are they going to back this?
30
I don't
seconds
think they
left.
are. They're going to see the
1 enemy
TP.
remaining.
And it's just a clean up from Mossy. They don't even need the help from the flanker. Don't even think they noticed them before they fell.
No, did not. And that's a pistol round converted once again for this In Control squad. Both now being taken from that side, and that's that 6th round. I mean, we were talking about, it doesn't have to be a 13-6, 13-6 necessarily for Prominence, but you'd like as many rounds to give yourself some leeway whenever we go over towards that second map. But it's just going to be a full eco from that side. They decide, okay, we can just buy classics. Fruit Cup, excuse me, has some light shield, so maybe going to be trying to farm up these ultimate orbs, get as close to the Armageddon as possible. But it's Hoppa as well as Rose to hold this C site. The lurk smoke goes in, but there is that alarm bot to still make note, as well as this stealth drone to clear out. Broken for the time being.
Lots of mind plays here as opening doors, relocating, usage of util to try to get some more information. And it looks like they're going to want C here. A little bit of a fake out using some util over on A, but the vast majority of the attack plus the spike are sitting on mound. They're strategizing. Salvos are going to go out. XOXO is going to do what they can to make their way on the site. Are going to get spotted, take some damage, but does not fall in the process. Now these defenders with rifles in hand are going to try to run them down and run them out of the site. Little Hoppa's going to find the first one. Omen's going to be low, but Mossy running through, Guardian in hand, runs out of ammo, pushes over to the secondary, finds the kill. And now, a 3v2 situation in favor of the defense, but no information for either of these teams. Spike is not yet planted. 10 seconds left on the clock. They know where the spike is, though. Salt's going to spot the first one. Brings it to a 2v2, but there's no time left on the clock. Are they going to get the spike down? They should. I don't know if they're going to have the health. They do get the spike down, but the swings come through, and there's just not enough health for them to outlive it. So they get the spike down. It's an ult point in their back pocket, but it comes at the cost of our lives. The spike gets defused anyway.
You can't be mad at that, though, if you're this side of prominence. I mean, some good damage done. You get the spike money as well. And on the other side, it's once again 3 players losing their lives, losing their guns for the in-control squad. So losing a bit of punch into their attempted bonus, as it's going to be full rifles across the board. And Mossy, Rose, and Hoppa all just opting for those sheriffs, as this setup, this is what I was talking about. You have the setup over towards C. It's just a jump spot and then a fault line off of any noise control. You have the salvos and this push through B main. It will be made note of by Rain, as they just tap heads 2 right after each other. As now, I mean, it's a massive gaping hole in the defensive setup of in control.
Yeah, and they're trying to do what they can to refill that space, and they're just not able to as they try to push in, and Yor gets pushed back by the paint shells. Meanwhile, the attackers are kind of all spread out. There's one wrapping around through C, one still sitting on A to prevent this push out. It does not stop Little Hoppa from finding one. Salt finds a trade, though. Rain 3 on the round is doing everything they can to keep their team in this fight and win this round convincingly. Now Sin, the last person standing, needs to do everything. Has only a Guardian in hand, and the task is just a little bit too much for them to bear. XOXO finds the kill. 8 rounds here on the board for prominence now. And again, Salt is continuing to tear up this server, almost at 20 kills, the least deaths in the server as well. It seemingly keeps coming down to them in these 1vx scenarios, and they constantly seem to be in the right place at the right time. Yeah, they are. I mean, capitalizing whenever possible, and it's going to be the first real fight over towards this C mount area that we're going to be seeing. The salvo is coming out. Listen, nade, just some damage onto Salt, but the space will be gained as Sin looking to extend further, but I mean, maybe a little bit of an overextension there as they're punished. The attackers try to push up so far and so aggressive, and they get punished and don't even find anything in response. And now these last 2 attackers need to do what they can. They're sitting in their spawn.
There's no chance even into this.
Really not. They're gonna try. They're gonna find the first one. There will be a trade, but one does fall, and now Rain. Oh no, Rain. Rain, don't do this.
Are we gonna see it?
Don't do it to him. Oh no, Rain! You did it! They do find a knife kill. A little bit of just rubbing a little bit of salt into the wound, pun intended. As they go 9-7 now. And yeah, very convincing round for them, as a little bit of over-aggression from this defensive side just gets so heavily punished.
Yeah, you didn't see, I mean, normally you'd like to see Yor sending it in, double satcheling through with that rest of the utility. Instead, it's Sin swinging out through tree to get that first contact onto that rubble control, gets punished, and then it all just kind of crumbles. The dominoes topple. This time the space will be given up. The orb will be gained for Sin, as it looks to be Hoppa trying to get their team an early pick. To be able to do just that.
They are gonna try to invest some into a push, but it looks like they're going to just sit back and wait. They are going to try to fake it out using some to keep him on B just long enough for the push onto C to come through. And Rain, the rat in the walls, this Sentinel player running up into their
Spike
spawn
planted.
practically while they do get spiked down. Never mind. They're all playing it as they all push up into this one space. Rain, the first one there. They do find one trade before falling. Megalodon's going to sit there. Push is going to come out from the defense as they do find one. Trades back and forth, but now it does favor 3v2. The rifle advantage is still there, though. Yor gets sprayed down through the smoke as Salt reads it, and that little Hoppa. I can say they're barely alive, but they are alive. 2 health left to work with. They have to duck and dodge around the salvos. They need to do everything they can't. Assault is just sitting around the corner. They just do not clear it. But again, 2 health. Barely in it, but they had a chance.
Yeah, and I like to see these adjustments coming out in the mid rounds. I'm not sure who exactly is calling them. Maybe it's Rain, maybe it's XOXO, some of these newer players assisting in that mid rounding, but the shear was activated on the flank. Rain makes note of that, and the prominent side decide to push through CT once that spike gets planted, because I've been talking on this a lot. I think the Breach Tejo, whenever it allows you to really get onto sites pretty easily, you have an overwhelming amount of utility. But the same thing is happening in that mirror match for the retakers. They can use that same utility to clear out the site, to clear out those positions, and make it hard to sit in sight comfortably. So you need to either be looking to take extra map control in that post plant or fall back. And whenever that flank is already compromised, are just looking to push forward, take that space, grab it up. And they grab the round at that. It's 3 in a row for the defense side and in control. Finally calling a timeout here to try to stem the bleeding just a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And notably, they do have the opportunity. They're sitting on 4 ultimates. That being said, so is Prominence. But a bit of good util usage, some good ult placements and timings, and this could very easily still go their way, especially as they have most of the real high impact ones. And the Raise Rocket still in 2 away. They're going to push out aggressively. Trade's going to go a piece, but is going to go into the favor of the attack as they find 2 defenders, and that's 2 ultimates off the board as well.
I'm a pin that tweet. Anyone that knows, I'm a pin my tweet. Do not go. But a stabilization from Hoppa, picking up Rain on the lurk as it goes back to a 3v3. Fruit Cup still alive into this, so Hoppa going to be hesitant on that ult, but has it if needed, but just contacting up. But Sin is just quicker on the trigger.
They try to go for the slow peek and they get punished for it. They do tease the plant, but they don't go through with it as the Rolling Thunder is invested. But now there's one attacker sitting all the way back in Waterfall, and it looks like C is going to be the choice here. They are going to be heard. Are they going to expect the Killjoy to be to their left? They are, and they are going to find the kill. Now, a little bit down on health and a little bit down on armor. They are going to get spotted by that into the shadows. Megalodon doesn't have full information, but expects someone to be coming from Waterfall. But they need to play this carefully. They need to play this smart. Hide, find the right angles, find the right points, and time. Find the right time to swing this through. They are having to use the Rolling Thunder. That's going to catch him off guard. Gets him in the air. Rose in the smoke is going to be protected, not spotted. Still no information, but the tap is going to give away what they need. And there's just so much utility left on this breach as they're just trying to time it out. They are going to fall, but that use of util is just enough to hold them back. Oh my, 1v2 situation, by the way. 1v3, actually.
Making it look like Breach has an updraft there. I mean, just Sin flying. Yeah, I mean, that was ridiculous, but a huge clutch from Megalodon to get them to 11. I mean, extending the lead by 4. That has to be a heartbreaker for In Control. You think you'd have that in your grasp. You stabilize in a round that doesn't look like it's going to go your favor, and it's just ripped away. once again going for this B main aggression. This time maybe gonna...
Okay, lots being invested there, and they do find 2 kills. That's defense here, which is massive, and that's 2 yet again. Ult having members, so that's going to be the Vice and the Raise Rocket going to be off the chessboard. That's huge for them as this attack is now having to reassess. It still looks like B's where they kind of want to go. Spike is pushed all the way up. They are going to invest, try to take some off the corners.
The salvo's just clearing out, as well as the stealth drone going to be invested. There are 2 players over here, though. You have Rose as well, looking to lean over if necessary. I think a little bit of a miss smoke there. So not intentional on that, but they're just playing this slowly, biding their time, as they don't really want to give any of these weapons away. But here comes the exec.
Yeah, they push through. They do have enough to keep the defenders off. Yor is
left.
sitting in the smoke. Is gonna boom bot, try to get some information. Not gonna find a kill off of it, but will spot the planter. Will take a lot of damage, and Yor has to duck and dodge. Is going to invest the Raise Rocket, gets it off, does find the kill. Megalodon and Yor trade 1 for 1 apiece, and the kills come out quick. They come out fast, and somehow in the chaos, we're at map point for Prominence here, 12-7. And just saying, this is a really good stat line for us. For them, excuse me, for Prominence. We were talking early how it had to be like a 13-6, and well, 13-7 wouldn't be exactly what they need. It's probably a lot better start than anyone was expecting.
Yeah, it's setting themselves up pretty nicely. And I gotta say, I mean, they're not even doing anything super crazy on this attack side. They're not really defaulting those tail salvos to really try to abuse Hoppa over towards the C site. It's just a turret to get contact over towards Mound, and that's going to bring all these rotates as they look to pinch these players through the door. Hoppa going to have to back up for now as Prominence decide to re-clear this space. But look at the flank.
Investing so much into this push, as that's 2 ultimates. The Raise Rocket is going to be used, not finding anything. The Vice ult as well is not
1 HP.
Yeah, it's a little dire from the Teho as they do push out, but the defense finds 3. Makes it a 2v4 situation. Armageddon is invested. They try to push through, and now 1 player left standing. Salt, the ace for this team, has done so much already, but they find the 1 kill, but they run out of bullets in the process. They do fall, and they're staying alive. And in control are doing everything they can to try to at least make it difficult for Prominence to get the win they want.
And I gotta say, I mean, Soren, the adjustment from In Control, you love to see it. I'm not exactly sure who their IGL is, but you saw the double push through. The last time they did that, I was praising Prominence for taking that initiative to push through into spawn, but In Control, ready for it this time, setting up to play anti-flash control against that utility, and they're able to come out on top now. 4 more chances to bring this into overtime. It'll be an aggressive Rebel control as Rose gets posted on to Rebel, but on the other side of Prominence, they're just biding their time. The operator brought into this round from Rain. For anyone going walkabouts B main, but it's Hoppa going over towards that C main area. The flash, I don't know how that didn't spot them out.
Ooh, the push comes through as they try to take so much space. Rose and Yor are going to mow them down as they push in. Vice is able to pick up the spike, though. Well, Hoppa is going to catch the 1 off guard, and now 2 attackers left standing, sitting in lobby 1 with the operator as well. It's not great for aggressive push out. Well, Hoppa sitting back. The op shot goes wide. I don't know. They're trying to go for the knife, I think. But they do finally fall. Salt, though, doing what they can. Spike is down. They need to find everything. They can't find anything, though. They'll hop a 3 on the round on that flank push. I did kind of like the gamble of sitting back towards the spawn. They were waiting for some aggression from B, but they just didn't push out. They actually pushed out into rubble, and with that, they kind of just neutralized the entirety of that attacking concept there is they never took space.
Yeah, it just fell flat for that reclair. They had the idea to hold space and then go into that rubble control, but the utility just wasn't there really. It was kind of just the smoke and then swinging through with nothing else. Not exactly sure what the approach was, but it's shut down, and their lead, once 5 rounds to close this out, slowly dissipating as it's Rain with a Bucky as well. That operator by from the last gonna put them onto low credits. The Rolling Thunder will be invested towards Waterfall to take this space, but XOXO is shut down. It's Hoppa once again. It's been the star player on this half to try to revitalize their team and breathe some life into this control squad.
Absolutely. Salt playing aggressive, does try to take more space, gets punished for a little bit, taking a little bit of damage, does not fall though. Spike is down, lots being invested. Salt and Megalodon find one apiece. The Armageddon gets used. They have to reposition. Fruit Cup finds one. Sin sending in Waterfall. 1 of 2 left standing. They're going to utilize the Rolling Thunder, do what they can. Megalodon's gonna be caught off guard while concussed as they push on the site. There's so much util coming out from this breach. Bucky in the hands of Rain's gonna find one, not able to find a second one. Never mind, they do! They jump around and the movement diff is real as they secure it. It's not as pretty as the 13-7 that we mentioned earlier, but they'll take a 13-9 every day of the week.
Oh, I'm just dying at the jump around, the bunny hops from Rain there with the Bucky, and finally able to close it out. And that's what I was wanting to see from that prominent side. They got a little shook there for a few rounds, but just decided, hey, we can just kill these guys. We can get the bomb down and we win. And so that's exactly what they do. They go see, they're confident in themselves, and they pick up the first map. Their map pickup load is 13-9, but you're right. Only now, I mean, what? 4 or 5 rounds? Like, they don't have a lot of lenience as much as they had with prior. So gonna be looking to start out Haven and, I mean, have a pretty dominant performance on that.
Yeah, in theory, if it is that plus 14, like you mentioned before, excuse me, something's in my eye. They technically need to win this next game. I think 13-3 at worst in order to hit that 14 round count win. So it's definitely going to be a tough ask. It's going to be a tough ask, but hey, we've seen crazier. Like I said, just last night on the Tenax series presented by Harmony Esports, by the way, we did have a 13-2. So there is possibility there, and they did play really well. I think the biggest problem is, and we talked about it beforehand, is that they're going to be starting on that defensive side, and that's a rough side to start on, especially on Haven.
But quickly to go back over this map, I mean, Salt going 27-12 on that Omen, just putting up huge numbers. I mean, especially towards the beginning of that first half, Soren. I mean, they got what, 2 3K or 2 4Ks, excuse me, even able to get a 2K as well to close out a very close round for their team. So really getting them off on the right foot, setting their team up for success on that first half of defense. And now, I mean, I'll be looking to do the same. I think Salt normally is playing that duelist role, so needs to continue this performance if they're looking to close this out 2-0. And for Hoppa as well, their team, I think going over to Haven, I mean, you're going to be looking hopefully for similar numbers on that Killjoy, but we'll just have to see. I believe we are going to send it to a short little 5-minute break, but right after that, we will be back with map number 2 of Haven, so make sure not to go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss this. Welcome back from that short little break. This is Tenax Series 3. It's week number 5, actually, and this is going to be Prominence going up against In Control Bloom. We just got done with map number 1 of Lotus, with Prominence taking their map pick 13-9. It was a close bout, but able to narrowly close it out there at the end with a clutch round by Rain. But now we're going to be moving over to Haven, Soren. This is the home ground of In Control. And, I mean, they are looking to win this and then also looking to win Split. They need it to keep their playoff chances alive.
Yeah, absolutely. This map is really going to be a massive decider for the playoff and just how everything kind of falls with 3 teams still competing. We talked about it in the pre-show before game 1, but In Control Bloom, they just need to go 2-0. As long as they can win, if they win their map pick of Haven and they secure a split as well, they are through. Meanwhile, Prominence, they have to win 2-0, which they're already on the path to do. However, the big hurdle is a round count of around plus 14, which a 13-9 is good, but that does mean we have to see them pull out a pretty convincing win. And we already saw this is an attacking map. They're going to be on the defensive side to start, which is not great for them. And again, this is Ink's Bloom's map pick. So not great for them, but even if it does go wrong, they could still find a way to mess up Ink Bloom's chances at playoffs as well. So there's a lot riding on this map in particular. Depending on how this goes, this map could almost entirely shake up the playoff scene.
Yeah, and for Prominence, I mean, the task seems a bit Sisyphean at that. I mean, it'd be so difficult as well. I mean, it is Haven. This is a map that we've seen them play before, way back in week number 1 against Nightshade, and they were running a pretty similar comp. It was just the old meta default comp, not actually going over towards that Breach Tejo that we saw both teams run actually over on Lotus. So I'm actually a bit surprised that we're kind of seeing this older take, as I think that new meta look has kind of just dominated and shown how good it can be. As once again, it's going to be Coax on this duelist, but I also got to make note, whenever they were playing against Nightshade for Prominence, they were running up against that Neon that they were running with Abby 2K over there on that role. So it's a little bit different of a matchup, but still, it was difficult for them to get a start here. They lost that game 6-13, and it came down to just, I mean, they really didn't set themselves up very well in the post plant, but since then 2 players have came in and swapped up, so maybe a little bit of a resurgence here on this map and a little more confidence for themselves coming into this one.
Yeah, and we do see everyone get locked in, so it's going to be a matching composition for both, the double initiator. Like you said, it's not going to be the Tejo on this map. It's going to be the Breach and Sova, a little bit more information in their back pockets, with the Omen, which is just kind of the staple of the current meta, with the Jet, who's always the one of, if not the best pick, followed by the Cypher, who has also been strong. So the classic composition for this map. It's going to be real interesting. It's going to really come down to the strategy here, because when there's no real difference in agent picks, it comes down to the individual play. But looking as we get into the actual game, it's going to seem like a pretty standard defensive setup here. Looks like there's going to be at least 1 or 2 playing towards Garage. Meanwhile, 2 are going to be sitting on A. So it looks like a 1-1-2 almost across the defense.
Nothing too crazy coming out here from either squad. For the attackers of In Control, going to be looking to go and potentially work this C split, as just Hoppa on that Cypher off of that comfort roll of the Jet. Coax looking to push up and maybe get an early peek. It's timing on this, able to make it through not made note of. There's no shot they're aware. And the knife out from Rose, but the shots just can't connect.
They're going to try to push this advantage as well as they know that they're there. They are going to spot Cokes. I don't know if they're going to spot the Sova, though. So much being invested. They are going to push him out. Fruit Cup's going to find one. They do not find the one in response, though. Mossy's going to do everything they can. Dinking darts off the wall, but they're not finding anything. As somehow in that terrible position, the two defenders get their way out as well as get one of the attackers in the process. And now the two defenders from B and C are pushed all the way up as well.
I mean, Chaos 25 HP. Finally, Cokes being taken down, but Rain on the flank.
Spike down A.
They are going to clean it up. They're not going to check for salt either. And man, very, very quickly, after what could have been almost interpreted as a risky and maybe not very effective push out from that defensive side Jet, it immediately gets punished as the attack side just kind of crumble as the defense just surrounds them there.
Yeah, I didn't even hate it. I mean, it was just some missed shots from Cokes and then kind of devolved from there. But, I mean, the reaction as well from... I believe it was Salt and Rain to also push through and just have the double defensive walkdowns was great. Throwing Ink for a loop and now just going for a quick B pop to try to get the spike down. Get some money up, some ult orbs converted.
Spike planted.
They are going to get the spike down, and there's going to be a lot of lead being sprayed, but no real damage while they push out into the A main area, and they are going to find 3. Now, 3v2, this defensive side are going to go for the retake. Smoke's going to go down to protect them, Flash as well, and they're just going to try to spam through, but bros don't fake in this business. Oh, and they almost get it, but not quite. They did get the half. Meanwhile, the other two are rather weak. Bulldog in hand. They'll just be able to mow them down. Coke's getting both of them as they just clean it up. Second round now for the defense, and notably, that is the Bulldog and Outlaw saved, but that's still a lot of damage being done, especially as this attack side can now fully buy out.
Yeah, and we kind of saw that in their last matchup where they were having struggle over towards that B site as well with their retakes, not really pushing down mid to re-clear, just kind of letting them get the spike down and then all trying to go through. So you saw a little bit of an adaptation there, but it did get messy. Now, still with the Outlaw in hand for Cokes, a Bucky, a few pistols, as well as the Bulldog for Megalodon, and an early walk down from Cokes. The shot will be taken, but missed as Rain. And playing with fire here, man.
Yeah, really, especially with just a Bucky in hand. They're going to be really aggressive on this angle, but the thing, as there's 3 sitting in garage. They are going to reset here.
And just slow the tempo down as in control. Look to stabilize, reset into this. You have 4 players actually all one-shot to Cokes' Outlaw, and the read is coming in. They have no control over towards A, so they're wary of it, but there's 4 players over here already. The exec will come through. They'll have to play retake, but they do have the option to flood back in.
Notably, one also only has a Bucky on hand, and they know that, so that's going to make this retake even harder. They're going to tease that spike plant, but they're going to prevent it from going down. R finds 2. Megalodon finds 1 with the U-tail. Make it 2 now with the Bulldog. But now, 3v2. The breach is weak on the attack side, so it could easily be level. A little hop of this fall, though. Brings it to a 2v2. Yor picks up a 3rd as well, and now Salt. Only a sheriff in hand has to do it. Sin is very low. Not even just a body shot. It could be through the wall is all that's needed. They're going to spot Yor. Go for the reload. That's going to give away the position of the breach. Again, still so low. He just can't find anything. We'll swing through to try to secure the breach kill, but Yor's going to be sitting on the other side of the smoke, and he's going to mow him down. They are going to secure it, but that was very costly. A lot of rifles lost.
Yeah, it was some good damage done. The retake there, it's pretty difficult if you're in the shoes of Prominence. You like you said, you have a Bucky, an Outlaw, Classic, and a Sheriff. Like, you're just trying to get what you can done, and they get some good damage. I mean, 3 going down, but they'll be looking to invest back into this Yor, notably with that Blade Storm here. But the setup for this attacker's side, they are going to default over, and once again, XOXO going aggressive towards this short position, and this time gets the opener onto Sin and instantly repositions. XOXO has been so versatile. I mean, they love to move around the map, get active, and you even see the reflash. Whoa.
Through
Sure, man. Sure, man.
And then through the smoke to secure it. Immediately
This
to
is what I'm
attack
talking about, though. So proactive with these pushes.
Go through, the attacker gets spotted in sewers, is going to be dealt with handily, though they do find one. That brings 2v4 now. Makes the odds a little bit better for this attacking side, but it's still not great. They do have only a Cypher and a Jet. Not the best for taking the site, but luckily they find B, which is pretty much open. Rain needs to be stopped here if this attack side wants to do something here. They are going to spot them as they try to push through. That info is going to be given as they push through the Cypher cage. A little bit of damage being done to Yor. They do have the Blade Storm in hand. Salt finds the first one, swings, and finds it with the bullet transfer. Craziness from Salt as 3-1 now is the round count. And I mean, we were saying this favors the attacking side, but man, this defensive side from Prominence is looking real good right now.
Yeah, and it's what I want to be seeing from Prominence. I mean, one of the things that I was having an issue with in their game against Nightshade was those defensive reclears. They were being very passive. They were holding back, fighting for backside, but their approaches to fighting on site weren't the best. But here, with XOXO at the lead, you're seeing a different version of Prominence, and that's a disgusting opener from Salt. Just a spray down through the smoke. And now your entry player's gone, and investment into this one as well as a force by Soren. And now, all the punch gone.
Yeah, especially the main duelist being off the table is massive here for this defense. As there, you see the Jet on the defense is pushed all the way up. Rain does find one on the one side of the map and pretty much kills all over as they just systematically shut down this default. Mosley, the last man standing. Last person standing, excuse me, as they go through. They are getting hit with the util, have to reposition. And Salt, again, started the round with that crispy shot, ends the round with the rundown. And again, not only has this been a wonderful start for this defensive side, but now they also have 4 ultimates in their back pockets. So they look to continue it. Megalodon is 7 out of 9 for their ult tracker as well, so they're close to having all 5.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the attack side only has 2, and none of them are even particularly close besides Little Hoppa, and the Neuro Theft is good. That's not going to be a round winning ult for you.
Yeah, it would have to be very specific conditions for it to be one, but
yeah.
CK1, the coach for In Control, calling a timeout here, wanting to get a word in with their players, calm the nerves a little bit, and reassess their approach to this attack side. They're down 3 rounds now. They got that first round where it was the anti-eco, and since then it's kind of been all over towards the side of Prominence, and a lot of it has to do with that defensive aggression. I mean, whether it be XOXO pushing down toward middle to create pressure, or over towards A down short. And I mean, last round, unlucky, man. I mean, a great spray from Salt, like with a predictive spray through the smoke. But I mean, this round it's going to be an eco for that In Control side. But they'll be looking to make those adjustments in the next round when they have that money. Potentially could farm some ultimate orbs for Sin here to get a Rolling Thunder on for the next one. And once again, the smoke, the shock darts to break this trip. And they're going back to what almost worked for them in that eco round of be hit, but Prominence is ready.
Yeah, they try to push through and they just run into the wall of defense here. The reload does come out from XOXO, does cost them their life, but now 3v2. Sin is on site, but so weak. Are they going to expect the player Garage? They won't. Sin finds the one on site, now 1v2. Sin, 15 health remaining. They know where Spike is, but they don't quite know where Sin is. That camera is going to give away the location. It's going to get flashed. They have to reposition. Rat stuck in the cage and now is tucked away in this corner. They need to do everything that they can to stay alive, but Rain just runs them down with the shoddy. And man, that's real tragic. Though, notably, that was a bit of an eco round for them. They tried to play that more aggressive. So even though it was after the timeout, this is the first full round in which they're going to have rifles.
Yeah, very similar scenes to round number 2 where they did that exact same strat, and I think you had the players from Prominence kind of reading into that a little bit, that they might try to go for that quick B, but we're actually seeing the same play from In Control, but now with rifles on board and Sin. The openers
There we go.
finally going towards In Control.
Aggression from the defense is finally punished. Fruit Cup does find one to trade. Rain, meanwhile, on the other side, pushes the smoke. Smoke Criminal finds another 2. 3 on the round when paired with the ult, and now Rose, last person standing, is gonna get spotted by Salt. And there's just nothing they can do. The Neuro Theft's actually coming up clutch there. I get called out for my comment a couple rounds ago, as it secures the round for them. But 6-1 as Fruit Cup almost single-handedly brings the round back into contention.
But you're seeing this adjustment. I know I mentioned it before, but this was the issue. One of the biggest issues that Nightshade was abusing was this B site that would constantly slam it, and Prominence just had no answer for it. But now they've realized, okay, we can't let them get comfortable on site. We need to go aggressive. We need to delay the plant and flood in with bodies. And Fruit Cup did just that, able to convert the round. And now once more on an eco for In Control, it's going to be Salt looking to anchor this site.
Ooh, a lot being invested into the C site, and XOXO with the collateral finds 2 as they push out. Megalodon finds a 3rd, and now this pairing of attackers, there's just nothing they can do. Shot through the wall, pushed out of the corner from the aftershock, and they're just getting run down. There's nowhere to go, nowhere to hide, as seemingly Prominence, they won it. This is so convincing from them. This is real. I'm not gonna say it. I am a firm believer in the caster curse. I was gonna say it, and I was like, I believe in the caster curse because I've done it so much. I am just going to shut my mouth. I'm just gonna shut my mouth, not say it.
I don't even know how XOXO, I mean, pushing down there, pushing through, and then is set up long with the operator, gets a collat from behind. Once again, looking to go aggressive early here. The drone will spot it out. Just has to back up, play their life, but the dash is already procced from Yord.
Yeah, not really punished for it either, as they are able to reposition. It's going to give away the location of 1, but not any of the others. Hunter's Fury is going to be invested. Not going to find anything, but the repositioning Rain is going to get shot down by Yor. Smokes are going to be put down to try to halt this aggression from the attacking side. It's going to do so as the attackers, they go for a reposition here. Notably, though, this Omen is pushed all the way up into A lobby. If they decide to make this push and they don't clear it, they could be heavily punished.
Surely they're aware.
Oh, the crosshairs. Just not where it needs to be. Yor finds
just so aware. I mean, they've been doing those aggro pushes so often, so not wanting to get caught out for what seems like the millionth time. Spike will come down here, and you even have the aftershock for delay. I believe the paranoia in hands as well.
They are not going to fall. There was some bullets straight as they went flying out the window. Meanwhile, this breach aftershock is going to be used to halt the progress from lobby. They also going to be pushed off of out of hell, but it doesn't really matter as they're just kind of mowed down by the flanker.
Can't see them yet.
And that's really I shouldn't have said anything. Cast the curse that shouldn't have said anything. But very convincing round, very convincing pickup there, and kind of a very much needed one.
Yeah, and it was a good change of pace. I mean, flawless at that. I mean, you saw the take towards B, the default to gain some of that control, push the operator off of that line, and then once they got the opening pick onto Rain, the Sentinel, they just cut noise, played it slow, decided to go and re-clear. Excellently played from that attack side, but an aggressive push from XOXO, and once again gets punished.
Yeah, they don't find anything. Meanwhile, Megalodon follows them. Death. So they try to run out, and now this attack side just has so much room for activities. Operator in the hands of Rain is going to peek through. They are going to spot that trip. Meanwhile, Salt finds the lurking Lil Hoppa. That is massive as they bring it to a 3v3. Notably, the Cypher still has the operator, so they have to play this carefully.
Yeah, the smoke will come down onto Heaven, but, I mean, you still have Mossy. Is so low. A single shock dart will take them down here. As just wary of that spike will be noted, but with the operator, it's hard to make those spam shots come through. To set up 3v3 for this retake.
Yeah, Oppa's just not finding a lot of value here. But that shock dart is, as multiple attacking members very weak. We see the Into the Shadows go into the back line. Rain drops down with the shorty, finds it, sneaks through, picks up the gun in the process, and that war is weak, but it doesn't matter as Rain closes it out. 4K on the round. The Cypher with the op is the hero, and they get to keep the op too. You can't write it much better for him there. 8-2 now is the round count.
Rain picking up some instrumental frags to get that one over the line, but I want to make note of Salt there. I mean, had the smoke re-smoked over towards short to do that Sugar Zero sight smoke, and then actually pops the ultimate from the shadows to get onto sight to break some of that crosshair placement. And when those players are already so low on sight, it just takes a single stray bullet to take them down. The round pulled out of a hat. Once again, another aggressive play here from XOXO. Not going to be able to get anything, but they don't lose their life, so.
Yeah, no punish coming out from that. Meanwhile, Rain, yet again, is going to push up so aggressively with this operator. Meanwhile, it does look like they kind of want to be in B. Rain's gonna get spotted to clear out some util. Meanwhile, the push onto B is happening. Yours gonna get noted. They are going to invest the Rolling Thunder. That's gonna be really tricky for them. Salt does get the one in the backstab. Megalodon does find one with the aftershock. Megalodon finds another one. Gives themselves the advantage, but they get collapsed in on. Don't know where Little Hoppa is. Spike is now in a rough spot for him, though. And XOXO is just going to be able to clean up the mess. As they're able to secure another round.
Oh, was that important?
Last
Prominence.
round in the half.
The switch up of their setup, they were playing that traditional setup of the 1-1-3 over towards A with the Cypher setup towards C. But then they decided, okay, we can swap this up a little bit. We don't have to fully commit, and once they popped the operator and gave it to Rain, setting up over towards A, it's kind of just been a shutdown as XOXO can go aggressive and play with their team to make those mid-round re-clears. Sure, it hasn't worked always, but still, Prominence side able to convert the last 2 rounds, and now a timeout. I mean, this is the second timeout being burned. The last one for In Control Bloom, and they want this 9-3 half. They need this 9-3 half.
Yeah, they really do, and you could tell the desperation, especially as they use that second timeout. It is a very rough half for them here, especially as, again, this is typically seen as a more attacking side of map. It's really, really difficult to defend 3 sites, but Prominence are almost making it look easy. And that's even with XOXO, starting some rounds by kind of handing over a kill at sometimes because they're playing so aggressive. But they're able to do that because players like Salt and Megalodon are just able to, and Rain are just able to kind of pick up the pieces and are able to get 1 or 2 kills. And they're just able to bring it back in favor. And we're already seeing some aggression over towards A as multiple ults are popped. You know, jet knives.
Look at this over towards
the
mid, though.
hands of your...
Megalodon was deciding to explore, backs up for the time being, doesn't want to overstay their welcome. But it's your going in.
Jet comes out.
Getting shut down.
The air battle between the Jets goes in favor of the defense, though the kill goes over the Rain. Shooting clay pigeons with the op. Neural Theft is going to give away the location of this attacking side, which is rough as they were propositioning for B, and they didn't know it, but now they're well aware as they set up for a garage push. That's going to prevent them from pushing in. Meanwhile, Rain on the other side is going to catch the one pushing into B main. Mossy does what they can to try to level the playing field. Makes it a 3-4. Much winnable, but it's still rough for them. So running out of time, 30 seconds
flank as well.
One enemy remaining.
Megalodon is just going to find two. Cokes is going to find the one as they're just not expecting it from flank. 10-2 is the half. Man, this is exactly what Prominence needed. This is exactly what they wanted.
Yeah, it's exactly what they need. I mean, you were talking it up. I mean, the 10-2 half coming alive here as they got the pistol round, but can they convert the second one here? The second one on their attack side. Now Cokes 12-7, Rain 12-7 as well. I mean, Cokes has been such an instrumental player on these, or on the defense side. Now swapping over to attack, I mean, I'd think that they would play similarly aggressive in this playstyle, at least for taking some portions of the map control. They will be set up with this raid boss, the Shield and Frenzy, dropped over.
Yeah, and they're just kind of running it in. They have C already under control. They push through garage as well, so they've taken that space. All five are sitting on C. A Spec's going to go down. They're playing quick and they're playing fast. And they're expecting this rotation and this flank.
Megalodon, though, re-clearing the re-wrap. Do they expect it, though? When do they check?
Yours going to take a bunch of damage. And Megalodon is going to find the... Megalodon is running him down. Fruit Cup with another as well, but Sin does what they can. There's the last one standing, and they can't. They lose the pistol. And frankly, at this point, I'm expecting a buyout. They kind of have to buy out here, right?
Yeah.
This is playoffs on the line.
And for the other side, I mean, it's exactly right. And for the other side, if you're Prominence here, I mean, if I'm Rain, bro, I'm buying an Outlaw. With how much Rain was farming with that up on the defense, I mean, we've seen how good the Outlaw is in this meta of 2025 with the Regen armor, the half armor, and if you're expecting this force, but we won't see it here. It's just the double shotgun, actually, interestingly enough, and a quick hit over towards B, but no one's home for In Control. It's going to be a full site given up.
Yeah, it looks like retake might be the move here, though they have pushed out pretty quickly into A. They're not going to find anything, but they are going to run if they keep trying to push through. And Mossy actually finds the kill with the Sheriff, so that is, I think, a rifle now possibly to be picked up. Cokes and Fruit Cup find one apiece, brings it to a 3v3. Tricky situation. They're split in half as well. They do find one apiece. The trades come through, but it comes out the attacking side, and it's terrible. It's horrible for the side of Ink Bloom as they buy out, but they're just not able to fully get what they want. They do some damage, but notably, the best they can afford here are Guardians and the Stinger. It's gonna be rough, especially as Megalodon and Cokes now have Phantom and a Vandal in hand.
Yeah, and the judge as well for Rain, Fruit Cup, not gonna buy. So it's actually gonna be Ink Bloom with the better buy overall, to be completely honest with you. But a walk down from your trying to get positioned over towards jail, a bit of spam as well into the window. Are they expecting this?
Oh, they're so pushed up. Oh, they're definitely not, as you're sitting in the corner and is just able to get him. make it to, never mind, I thought they got another one. Rose is gonna fall salt with the sheriff. They do what they can. Has to reposition. Rain finds a little hop on the flank, and now it's a 3v3. They're able to pick up some guns as well. And now, two rifles and a shoddy versus 2 guardians and a stinger. They do find Salt though. That's one of their best players. Both sitting
Megalodon just noted how Mossy rotating, but Rain. Okay.
Spike
in,
down. C.
able to adjust, and now it's on Megalodon to clutch this out, but I don't know if this is doable. It's not. Mossy with the Guardian, able to get it done, and that's a 3rd round for Ink Bloom. A bit of life into this one as they can rebuy into this, and for the side of Prominence, I mean, they should be able to afford, but I don't know if they're actually going to full commit a purchase into this.
Not sure either. It doesn't look like it's going to be, as 8 seconds left on the clock for the pre-round means that there's only going to be 2 with anything better than a pistol, and it's going to be 2 shotties. So it's going to be tricky. They're going to just try to find some sneaky kills, I think, and some heavy aggression from this defensive side as well. Information is going to be gathered. Meanwhile, they pushed all the way up through garage. They do kind of have a wrap around here, but the positioning of all these players is so awkward right now.
And Salt able to get the opener. Now the complete right side of the map is open. Rain with 2 with the judge. How was this turned to a 1v4 for Sin?
They only had pistols and shotties, and somehow they're gonna find a way to convert it if they can close out this final man. Sin does have a rifle in hand. He has to play this smart. They have to play this collected, and they just can't do it. Salt, one of the MVPs for Prominence this entire series, comes up massive yet again, secures the final kill, secures the series, and it's gonna come down to the math. But I mean, a 13-3 might have just been enough. I do think that is a 14-round difference.
It is. I'm not sure 100% if it was enough. We'll have to check the stats for sure if it was enough to push them across the line, or if Chronic will be the ones making it through. But a 2-0 and a damn good performance by Prominence to, I mean, show a little bit of life. Especially, I mean, on Haven, a map that, to be honest, I was kind of expecting to go the opposite direction, but with those 2 new players coming into the roster, Cokes and Salt specifically, I mean, it was a completely different look of life for those players. But looking at the stats here as well, I mean, we can look over both Jets going off being the MVPs for their team, but as far as for Prominence, I mean, I got to give a shout out to Rain. I mean, maybe not the necessarily MVP right here, but 16-10 in their own right. And on that defensive side, really just did so much for their team.
Oh, yeah. And I also want to point out Salt. I mean, was massive. I believe it was the MVP in map number 1. And even here went 15-6. So 1 off the top kill, and by far and away the least stats in the entire lobby. Crazy stat line for them. And honestly, Inkbloom, it's a rough position to be in. No one wants to pick a map and then get frankly blown out on it. It's not great, especially for the mental. But there was absolutely signs of life. They did have some really good moments, and especially on map number 1. They were very, very close going into the second half, and they really could have brought it back in the second half. But man, overall Prominence with just a different beast. They were just so clinical, especially in map number 2. Even when they would go down, I keep thinking back to the round in which I think it was Megalodon and Cokes would push out and play really aggressively, and they get punished immediately, and they'd be down 3-5, and somehow Rain and Salt would just find a way to get 2 kills, and suddenly it was even, and they find a way to secure the round. It's so hard to do that, and they just seem to do it consistently.
It was crazy work by those players, and I gotta say, I was informed that with Hyperspeed winning last night in the fashion that they did, it actually is Chronic that will be making it through to playoffs. So sadly, Prominence, even with this 2-0 victory, not able to clinch it out and not able to get it done. But I mean, still a great match overall. Got to give their flowers to them. And as well, I mean, Inc. played a solid game as well. So appreciate both teams putting on a great performance. But with that being said, we do have playoffs coming up. It's going to be next week on Tuesday, I believe the 25th. Starting at 6 p.m. CST. So make sure to tune in for that. It's going to be an exciting one to start us off. And then we have matches throughout the week. So you're not going to want to miss the Tenax series playoffs. But that will be all from us tonight. Soren, want to give a quick thank you to, once again, the broadcast. I mean, not going to be able to do it without the wonderful people helping out, like Multitudes, like Icefire, like yourself. So thank you guys for helping, and as well Harmony Esports helping put this production on. But anything you want to say, Soren, before we send it out? Any plugs you want to give for yourself?
Not for myself. I just want to give a massive shout out to all the teams. And as much as it's important for us to be here to put on the actual stream, as much as it's important for the chat to be sitting and watching, it's also just massively important for the players to come up and show out. I mean, again, Prominence doesn't secure the playoff spot, but you can't say they didn't try. That massive props, that drive and dedication to come on and play week to week and show up and show out every single time. Massive props to them, and special thanks to them as well.
Yep. Make sure to give those players all a follow over on the Bird app or wherever you can follow them, maybe on Twitch. I bet they would appreciate it, because you want to be keeping in touch with, I mean, these players are going to be the next big things in the GC scene, so you're not going to want to miss out. But that is going to be all from us tonight. Once again, we are your casters, Zero Fights and Soren. But make sure to have a great rest of your night, and stay warm, folks.